Hello, this time we're going to do the opposite of what we did yesterday. So yesterday we looked at expanding brackets, now we're going to look at factorising, which is basically putting brackets back in. Factorise. Alright, so we're going to factorise all of these. So basically what we're trying to do is find what these terms have in common. They might have a number in common, something you can divide them by. So remember, expanding is always about multiplication. So that means that factorising is always about division. So we're going to divide by the highest thing that all the terms have in common. Sometimes that will be a number, sometimes that will be a letter, sometimes it will be both. So for this first one here, let's have a look. Well, I know that I can divide both of those terms by 2. So I'm going to put 2 outside of my brackets, and then if I divide 6x by 2, I get 3x. And then if I divide -8 by 2, I get -4. So if you're not sure if you've done it properly, you can check by re-expanding and making sure that you end up with this again. So 2 times 3 is 6x, 2 times -4 is -8. Okay, so same thing here. I'm going to look and see what all of them have in common. Now you need to find the highest thing they all have in common. So whilst I can divide all of these by 2, that's not high enough because I can divide them all by 4 as well. So 4 is actually going to come on the outside of my brackets this time. So if I divide 8m by 4, I get 2m. 12n by 4, I'm going to get 3n. And 16r by 4, I'm going to get 4r. Now there's nothing else I can do, so I'm going to leave it like that. None of these are like terms, so they all need to stay separate. All right, so this time there are more things going on. So I'm going to see what do these these three terms have in common. Sorry, this is a separate question, by the way. So I can divide them all by 2. I can also divide them all by, oh no I can't, this is a 6. Okay, I'm going to divide them all by 2. But that's not all they have in common. Every one of these terms also has a p. So I'm also going to divide them all by p. And then I'm just going to write down what I have left over. So if I divide this by 2p, I get 4q. If I divide this by 2p, I get 3r. And if I divide this by 2p, I get 2s. And now none of these match, so there's nothing else I can do. I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay, same thing here. What can I divide both of them by? I can divide them both by 3, and they both have an m in common. So this has 2 m's, right? The little squared means this is 3 times m times m. There are 2 of them. So I'm going to pull out 1 m from both of these because they only have 1 in common. So if I divide 3m squared by 3m, well, I said that there were 2 m's, right? That's what this means. So I'm left with one of them. I took one of them out, but I have to leave one behind. And then I'm going to divide -9m by 3m. So I just end up with -3. And again, if you're not sure you've done this properly, you can re-expand, multiply this out, see if it works. 3m times m is 3m squared. 3m times -3 is -9m. All right, so now I'm going to look at this and say, what do these ones have in common? Now we're starting to get some higher powers. Okay, so what do we have in common? Well, the numbers have nothing in common. So I'm not going to pull a number out at all this time. But I do see that they both have a b squared term. So that's going to be my common factor. So b squared is coming out. And here I'm left with 2a squared. And here I'm left with a -3c squared. All right, this one, let's see what they all have in common. Now, there are no letters in common this time, so we're going back to just numbers, and I can divide all of these by 4. So if I divide them all by 4, 4s divided 4 is just going to be s minus 4t plus 5r. Great, nothing else is in common, so I'm going to leave it. Okay, this one here, this one's a little bit more complicated because I've got a cubed going on here. So really this means that there are 3 r's, 2 here and another 2 here. So let's first look at the numbers. I can divide all of these terms by 2. Then what can I divide them all by in terms of letters? Well, they both have, all 3 of these terms, sorry, have 2 r's. There's 2 here, at least 2 here. There's 3, right? There's 2 here and 2 here. So actually, I'm going to take out r squared as well. So if I divide 4r cubed by 2r squared, I divide 4 by 2, I'm left with 2r cubed divided by r squared is r because there's 1 left. I said there were 3 of them. I've divided out 2 of them and I have 1 left. So this one here, divide by 2r, well, I get -3 and the r's are both gone, so I can't do anything else with that. And then this one here, divide it by 2, I get 4, the r's are both gone, and I'm left with an s. Great, so I'm going to leave it like that. All right, so this can be a little bit trickier than expanding. Most people find this harder because you can't just find anything in common, right? You have to find the highest thing in common, and you have to make sure that you get all of the common features. So don't forget to look for numbers and letters that they have in common, and sometimes multiple letters as well that they have in common, like this. All right, if you have questions, please come and let me know. Otherwise, good luck.